Welcome back, Planeswalkers. How you doing? How you doing? Have a seat because our next stop is Simic Value Town. Today, we're taking a look at Galadriel of Lothlorien, a 3-mana legendary elf noble who lets us scry 3 when the ring tempts us, and our ring bearer isn't Galadriel, which is nice. But what we're after is her second ability. Whenever we scry, we may reveal the top card of our library, and if that card is a land, put it onto the battlefield tapped. Oh yes, you already know from a first glance this card is broken. Our strategy is simple. Get every land on the battlefield and win, or stack our deck to go infinite and kill our opponents with unblockable creatures. So, let me show you just how gross this card can be. Let's move into the creatures. Starting things off, we have Augury Owl, Cryptic Annelid, and Overwhelmed Apprentice as our ETB scry creatures. Cryptid is going to give us great value here because it's going to create 3 separate scry triggers for us to use, meaning that's potentially 3 lands. Now, remember, what's on the battlefield doesn't always stay on the battlefield. Keep that in mind as we move forward. Sakura Tribe Scout, Sky Shroud Ranger, Llanowar Scout, all provide us with a way to get our lands out of our hands and onto the battlefield to either ramp us or give us extra landfall triggers. Speaking of landfall triggers, we have Rune Crab, Hedron Crab, and Scoot Swarm as a way to win the game. The crabs will mill our opponent, and the Scoot will give us an army. Moving on, we have some utility creatures in Kenios, Priest of Thassa, Tiller Engine, and Elvish Mariner. So, Kenios will give us better scries, and don't worry about that second ability, okay? We do have a use for that. We have Tiller Engine to untap our lands, basically working like a Amulet of Vigor. And then we have Elvish Mariner to tap down our opponents on their turns and our turns. Every time we scry, it taps that many permanents as deep as we scry. So, really useful card. Next, we have our passive scry creatures, which is going to be Elrond, Lord of Rivendell, Geist of the Archives, and Thassa, God of the Sea. Now, Elrond is going to give us the ability to tempt ourselves when 2 creatures enter the battlefield, which is going to give us even more scrying. And then Thassa is our win con because we do have a few ways to make infinite mana and creatures. Speaking of infinity, let's take a look at Tidal Force Elemental, Stone Cedar Hierophant, and Maluku the Clouded Mirror, which provide some shenanigans in our deck that I will get into in a moment. But let's keep going over some of these creatures. Finally, we have the girl bosses of our deck, Tatyova, Benthic Druid. So we can draw our deck. And then we have the Patron of the Moon as another outlet to go infinite, and Trench Behemoth that does the exact same thing as Maluku, but better and different in some ways. Better is arguable, I guess. We have Kodama of the East Tree and Tireless Provisioner as well to add added protection to our combo. Now, the way the combo works is we will use a creature that can bounce a land to our hand, and then use one of those scout abilities. One of our scouts abilities, those are the creatures that put the lands from our hand onto the battlefield. So we'll put that land back on the battlefield, and then we can generate either infinite mana, infinite creatures, infinite draw, infinite mill, or infinite scry, or all of the above at the exact same time. Now, to ensure that we get this combo, we will need a few spells. For our spells, we have Serum Visions, Preordain, and Deliberate as a way to scry and give us a card draw. In that same category, we also are running Opt, Council's Deliberation, and Joint Exploration. Now we also have Elven Farsight, Mystic Speculation, and Reason to Believe as just pure scry spells. We do also include a control package, and that's going to have Condescend, Anti-Cognition, Bane's Contingency, Tal Jalid, Justice, Voyage's End, and Dissolve with no escape to finish it off. Now, the common theme between all these cards is going to be that they have scry printed on them. For tutors, we have Worldly Tutor, Mystical Tutor, Green Sun Zenith, and Finale of Devastation. There are some creatures here that we need for our combo to work, so naturally, most of these are going to be creature tutors. Mystical Tutor does find us a spell that we need. Speaking of spells that we need, though, let's go into our top deck package, which is Scouting Trek, Maul's Druidic Vow, and Animist Awakening. Scouting Trek does some nasty things in our deck because we're going to be finding all our basics and putting them to the top. And Animist Awakening, oh, what is that? Play the lands from the top of our deck. Oh yeah, you can already see we're going to do some gross things. Rounding out our spells though, we will have Nexus of Fate for some infinite turns. And speaking of turns, let's move into our Enchantments and Artifacts. Lost Isle Calling is a gross way for us to grab another turn using the scry engine that we already have And then guess what? It's going to draw us a full grip, or sometimes even more cards. We're talking like 9, 14 cards very easily. And in some cases, we can actually have infinite scry. So let's just draw our deck, which is it's just a super awesome card in this list. We also have an upkeep package. So that's going to be Mystic Redaction, Netherrees, Puzzle Ward, Eyes Everywhere, and Lifecaster's Bestiary, which all come with their own utility. They all do a little different things, but for the most part, they're all going to allow us to scry on our upkeep. Now, for card draw, we do have Seasons of Growth, Maze Mind Tome, and Trade Routes. We also have some funky cards with their own power. Soul Ring, Goblin Charbelcher, and Witch's Eye, they all have their own utility. And Goblin Charbelcher, I should mention, hey, once we find all our lands and we put them on the battlefield, which we're gonna do, we can stack our deck. Well, on top of just killing someone, we can also just stack our deck to go infinite from there with no lands in our deck. So some really gross things you can do there. And we're gonna round things out with our win cons, which is gonna be our Amulet of Vigor, Cloudstone Curio, and Retreat to Coralheim. So I'm gonna need you to picture this. You have Retreat to Coralheim, your commander, and an Amulet of Vigor on the field. Then you play Scouting Trek. Yeah, congratulations, you've won Magic. Anyways, getting into the boring stuff, we do have a mana base, which is all scry lands with a few bounce lands, and the rest are basics, with one exception. Orbro, Palace in the Clouds, which is going to allow us to make sure we get our landfall triggers. As always, thank you for making it this far into the video, and we hope you enjoyed it. If you'd like a commander done in one of our videos, just leave it down in the comments. And if you'd like to see more of this train wreck, subscribe down below. See you in the next one.